Well, let's get to the latest in terms of the developments today in politics. The ANC announcing to launch its election manifesto on the 27th of September. Of course, it comes as the party is dealing with multiple disputes from branches who are very unhappy, have been protesting outside Luthuli House, some of them, accusing ANC leaders in their localities of manipulating some of the councillor lists. Spoo, how does the party plan to resolve these issues in time for the election, which, of course, is just around the corner?
That's correct, Kathy, and as we know that Tshwane is also the municipality that the ANC lost in 2016, which it had comfortably won by 55% in 2011. I guess them going back there shows how serious the party is about reclaiming that lost ground, but also it does go, as you have rightfully said, into this election facing a myriad of issues, including unhappiness of branches, but also unhappiness of staff whose salaries have not been paid. But yes, the ANC did have a press conference earlier today that was addressed by its head of elections, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, who joins us now to answer some of these questions. Mr. Mbalula, thank you very much for your time. And I think most people are asking themselves the question as to how exactly can the ANC deliver an effective election campaign, given the fact that its staff is on strike?
Well, thank you very much, and all the listeners. We are delighted this afternoon. We'll still speak about that our staff have, which have down tools for some time, have come back to work, and we salute them for the noble deed that they've shown to come back to work and to reinforce our efforts to win the elections decisively. We are a party that is not rich and very poor financially. We have faced challenges which are unprecedented when it comes to financial woes, where we found that some couple of months we're not in a position to pay. But look, this is not new. It might have been elevated by the circumstances of today, but working at Luthuli House, all of us, we know that we do go through this patch, rough patch of not being paid 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It does happen at ANC. It's not something new. But nonetheless, solidarize with our comrades, and we know it hit them hard. But nonetheless, we put an effort through the TG to get everything back to normal.
So effectively, the strike is over, you're saying, Mr. Mbalula?
We have got the notice from the general manager in the bargaining chambers of the staff matters at Luthuli House that our staff have decided to suspend their industrial action up until after the elections because they believe in the African National Congress and that the ANC must continue to live among our people and lead our people. Of course, these issues, like I said, they do happen as and when you work at Luthuli House from time to time.
So obviously, I mean, as you're saying that this is not the first time that this is happening. It has happened before, and we are going into an election. Credibility and the integrity of the organizations become important principles as we go into this election. And one of the municipalities, and I think you made this mention earlier, is Tshwane. You are trying to reclaim some of the lost ground in Tshwane and in other areas. Now, given the problems that the ANC has had, including its financial challenges, including mismanagement of some of the municipalities, why should the people of Tshwane and the people of any other municipalities entrust their vote with the ANC?
Well, the ANC have made big strides. As you will know, in our renewal program, we have said that ourselves through our own admission that it has been a time of good and bad. And we have been on the mend since from the last election. We have been on the renewal path. And it is for everyone to see. We have not yet arrived. It is not yet Uhuru. But we have made serious interventions to reverse the perception that people have about the African National Congress. Siyaya ePitoli, we're going to Tshwane.
Sure.
Because we lost Tshwane because of some of the internal challenges that we've had in the organization. But we say to the people, look, since we were out of power, where is Tshwane today? Stagnation.
Now, Mr. Mbalula, I mean, the reality here is that you still have, you may be talking of the strides that the party has made over the past few years, but if you go to structures of the ANC that are protesting outside Luthuli House, that are lodging disputes with the party around manipulation of lists, this is not new. So this new ANC you talk about is not the ANC that even your branches, even at a time when you've introduced a new election committee that is headed by the former President Kgalema Motlanthe, someone might say nothing has changed.
You will know that the issue of candidate selection in a party as big as the ANC has always been our Achilles heel. That is why our campaign is not starting on the 27th. We started earlier on, trying to eliminate and attend to the challenges. It is a rigorous process, we will admit. It doesn't end only with party structures. We take it to communities. The larger voice of our society is reverberating through the selection process of candidates. Everyone has got an opinion in the local community about who best can lead, you know. And of course, there are elements within the party that manipulate, undermine the process. We will not leave them. We will deal with them. That is why we have infused in this process consequence management, something we have not done. We have strengthened our hand because it affects our integrity. And our integrity has been prime in our renewal program.
Sure.
And that is why we have taken many decisions about our public representatives who have been affected by bringing the ANC in disrepute.
Sure.
Over the years.
Yeah.
And we are on the mend, and we have not arrived. As we go back and ask our people to come with us, we know that it is not yet Uhuru.
Sure. I want us to drill a bit into the selection of candidates. And one of the issues there, concern that I had, and I'm sure you've come across as well, is that by nature, there is always that antagonistic relationship between communities and their public representatives. And now some people are saying that with the ANC opening up the process to a community, it's leading to a process where, yes, the majority's view wins, but the ANC risks losing experienced councillors who may have become unpopular in their communities for a variety of reasons. How do you mitigate against that?
Well, our selection process does cater for a balanced criteria of skills retention, but at the same time without undermining those who would have been chosen by popular demand by the people and the communities. In terms of our PR selection, we make it a point that our selection does retain, to a certain extent, retention of skill and experience. And that is what we have done in keeping the balance. But the popular mandate of the people, we have said it is alpha and omega. No one can touch it. If somebody touch it, we will be in a position to revert. If the investigation proved that indeed there was manipulation, we will deal with those individuals through the consequence management we have put in place.
And I want us to be clear on exactly the last point, Mr. Mbalula. So effectively, you are saying that if the ANC, even after the election, finds that some of the candidates who may have been chosen were chosen through the manipulation of processes, are you saying that those candidates will be fired by the party and risk a by-election?
We have done it before, and it was not publicized. We have done it before. Under Nkosazana Dlamini report, where people manipulated processes, people were fired. It's just that those actions were not popularized. We will do it even vigorous and with determination this time around. ANC will not be tolerant anymore to manipulation and the anarchy within its ranks. As you will have seen, We have been determined to take difficult decisions as an organization for everyone to see. Even if others today want to say they don't see, but you have been seeing under President Ramaphosa taking difficult decisions that involve its cadreship and those who have read of the way. That is the path we have chosen, and there is no turning back. We're going forward.
Now it's clear, Mr. Mbalula, it's all system go for the ANC as it goes into this particular election. And of course, there has been concern that has been expressed by your biggest province, which is KwaZulu-Natal. And I know that tomorrow the Constitutional Court is issuing its judgment on the application by the former president to have his prison sentence rescinded. I'm sure as the ANC you would probably be relieved that the legal woes of the former president are coming to some kind of conclusion, given the threat that it poses for the party in KwaZulu-Natal. How would you react to that?
Well, the situation of President Zuma and the courts have been a concern for our movement. But what we cannot undo is the principles of jurisprudence, that nobody is above the law and the law must take its course. But for us as an organization, it has been a matter of concern. It has affected our structures, and from time to time, we have had to cancel them in KwaZulu-Natal in how it affects them. But nonetheless, the law must take its course, and in this particular instance, the rule of law, as it is, must also be respected. So
do you believe,
we're looking at the courts and what they will pronounce, but nonetheless, our position as a movement have been clear with regard to this matter.
Do you believe that his release on medical parole will benefit the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal in its electoral prospects?
Well, the release of the former president on parole is a decision taken by the authorities. And in this instance, in as far as the ANC is concerned, of course, we are happy that the authorities can arrive at the decision that is determined by them, and that they will have to stick and stand by their own decision. Our president have spoken and have welcomed the decision, as you would have known, about President Zuma being released on medical parole, because those who are in authority know what they are doing. So if that decision they've arrived at, indeed, it is a matter that they arrived at not lightly, based on the laws of prisons that govern in this country, well and good for President Zuma and for everyone else who's affected by these laws. And we have since welcomed that particular decision and wish President Zuma well in his recovery.
Mr. Fikile Mbalula, thank you very much for your time. That was the ANC's head of the elections, actually giving us there the breaking news that the members of staff of the ANC who had been on strike have suspended their industrial action. And he says until after the elections, I guess it's not over. It may well be that the party still owes its staff members. But if I listen to Mr. Mbalula there, he's actually saying that they have agreed to come back to work and assist the ANC as it mounts this election campaign. Of course, it's 6 weeks to go before the elections on November 1. And with that, that's all that we had for you today in Port.